All right, let's set the scene. It's mid-July, maybe August, boiling hot, like 97 degrees out. And the humidity, you could cut it with a knife.
Yeah, one of those days.
Exactly. And your old HVAC, the trusty one you've had for, I don't know, 15 years, it finally gives up the ghost. Just PFFT. Done.
Happens all the time. Right when you need it most.
So you're sweating, you're desperate, you grab your phone, call the first HVAC company that pops up, they come out, talk fast, throw some jargon around, and bam, new unit installed. Instant relief, right?
You too.
But then that first utility bill lands, and whoa, it's practically double what you used to pay.
Ouch.
And then you find out, way too late, the new system is totally oversized for your house. They didn't even look at the ductwork, and that high efficiency promise, yeah, not so much. Believe me, that story, it's way, way more common than you'd think. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
It really is.
Because getting a new HVAC system installed, it's not just, another home project. It's a huge investment. Long term, affects your comfort, your energy use, and definitely your wallet.
Absolutely.
So our mission today is pretty simple. Arm you, the homeowner, with the essential facts and the critical questions you absolutely have to ask before you sign anything.
Exactly right. That whole nightmare scenario, it's often less about bad luck and more about, well, homeowners just not knowing what to look out for, what questions to ask.
It can feel overwhelming.
Totally.
Yeah.
But being prepared, knowing the right things to ask,
Yeah.
it makes a world of difference. We often say, knowledge is power, but here, knowledge is comfort, literally.
Good one. Okay, let's dive in then. First question. And this one I think gets missed a lot. You need to ask, what size HVAC system do I actually need? Because most people, myself included, probably just figure it's about square footage, right?
Right. And that's mistake number one, usually. Sizing is much more involved than just the size of your house. What a good contractor should do is perform what's called a load calculation. Specifically, a manual J load calculation.
Manual J sounds technical.
It is, and it should be. It's not guesswork. It looks at everything. I mean, the size of your windows, sure, but also what kind of windows? Single pane, double pane, low-coated.
Wow. Okay.
And the insulation in your walls, in your attic, your ceiling height, even, and this is important, how much sun hits different parts of your house during the day.
Like which windows get blasted by the afternoon sun.
Precisely. A big south-facing window acts totally different heat-wise than a north-facing one.
Yeah.
Manual J accounts for all of that, calculates the actual heating and cooling load your specific house presents.
And if they don't do that, or just guess.
That's where the trouble starts. You almost always end up with a system that's too big, oversized.
Bigger isn't better here.
Definitely not.
But
An oversized system does something called short cycling. It blasts on, cools the space super fast, maybe too fast, then shuts off. Then, just a few minutes later, boom, it kicks back on again.
Okay, I can see how that's annoying.
It's more than annoying. That constant on-off wears out the components much faster. Think premature failure. Plus, it uses a ton more energy than a properly sized unit. And, maybe worst of all for comfort, it often leads to uneven temperatures, cold spots, hot spots.
Yeah.
And it doesn't run long enough to properly dehumidify the air either.
So it feels kind of damp or clammy even when it's cool.
Exactly. And get this, here's a fun fact, well, not so fun for your wallet, from the U.S. Department of Energy. Oversized HVAC systems can slash efficiency by up to 30%.
30%. Just wasted.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
just because the unit's too big for the job it needs to do.
Wow. Okay, so step one, absolutely insist on that manual J load calculation. Got it. It means avoiding that headache of a system that's too powerful, costs more to run, and doesn't even keep you comfortable.
You nailed it.
All right, so once we figured out the right size, what's next? It's going to be efficiency, right? How do you figure out the most efficient option for, your climate, your budget?
That's the perfect next question. Because efficiency isn't one size fits all either. The key thing to look for is the SEER rating.
SEER. Okay, what's that stand for?
Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio. Basically, the higher the SEER number, the less electricity the air conditioner uses to cool your home over a whole cooling season.
Higher is better, generally.
Generally, yes, higher SEER means more efficiency. But you have to balance the upfront cost with the long-term savings.
Okay. So it depends.
It really depends on your climate. For example, if you live down south, maybe Florida, Texas, Arizona, brutal long summers, investing in a higher SEER system, say SEER 16, 17, even 18, could absolutely pay off.
Because you use it so much.
Exactly. The energy savings over months and months each year can recoup that higher initial cost. These often have cool tech too, like variable speed compressors. They don't just slam on or off, they adjust their output. but smoother, quieter, and way more efficient.
Okay. But what if I'm like up north, milder summers?
Then maybe a CR14 system, which is often the minimum standard now anyway, might be perfectly adequate. It'll still be efficient, save you money compared to an old unit, but you might not see the payback from a super high CR18 system. It's about finding that sweet spot.
Makes sense. What about labels like Energy Star?
Definitely look for the Energy Star label. Those systems are independently verified to meet strict efficiency guidelines set by the EPA. Plus, Energy Star units often qualify you for utility rebates or even federal tax credits.
Oh, rebates. Money back.
Yes. And check for state-specific incentives, too. Some states offer tax credits for installing high-efficiency equipment. Those can add up and really help with the cost.
So do your homework on rebates and credits. That's where it gets really interesting. Saving money, not just up front, potentially, but definitely on those utility bills down the road.
That's the long game.
Okay, now let's talk about something that I suspect gets forgotten a lot. The pipes. I mean, the ducts. You have to ask, will my existing ductwork actually support this fancy new system?
Oh, this is huge. And yes, massively overlooked.
Yeah.
I like the analogy of ductwork being the HVAC system's circulatory system. Your veins and arteries.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't matter how amazing your new high-efficiency heart, the HVAC unit is, if the arteries carrying the blood to conditioned air are leaky or blocked,
Right.
if your ducts are leaking air into the attic or crawl space, if they're poorly insulated, or if they're simply not the right size for the airflow of the new system, all those efficiency gains from your expensive new unit, gone. Poof.
Just lost air.
Lost expensive conditioned air. The EPA estimates, and this is pretty shocking, that in a typical house, something like 20 to 30% of the air moving through the ducts is lost because of leaks, holes, and poor connections.
20 to 30%. That's crazy. That's money just vanishing into the attic.
Literally. I've seen it happen. Client gets a top-of-the-line system, bills barely change, we test the ducts. Leaking like a sieve. They were basically air-conditioned in their crawl space.
So what should you ask the installer to do about ducts?
You need to ask them point blank, will you inspect my existing ductwork? Will you test it for leakage? They should have tools for this, things like a blower door test or specifically a duct blaster test.
Duct blaster. Sounds intense.
It basically pressurizes the duct system so they can measure exactly how much air is leaking out and often pinpoint where it's leaking. It's not just a quick peek.
Yeah.
It's a diagnostic test.
Okay, let's unpack this then. You wouldn't buy a brand new car and expect it to run perfectly on flat tires, would you?
Excellent analogy. No way.
Same idea here. That new HVAC needs good tires, good ductwork to do its job right. Okay, that makes total sense. Which brings us to the money side again. Transparency. You need to ask. Can you give me a detailed, itemized estimate?
Yes. 1,000 times yes. If a contractor just throws a single number at you for the whole job, big red flag.
Why is that so bad? Just simplicity.
It's a lack of transparency. A good, reputable contractor should have no problem breaking it all down for you. You need to see, line by line, the cost of the specific equipment model numbers included, the cost of the labor involved. What kind of thermostat are they including? Is it a basic $20 one or a $250 smart thermostat? That matters.
Right.
Any permit fees required by your city or county? Is there any cost for ductwork modification or sealing based on that inspection we just talked about? And even, what's the cost for hauling away and properly disposing of the old unit?
All those little things add up.
They absolutely do. And without that itemized list, you're just flying blind. You could get hit with surprise charges later. Oh, we didn't include the permit fee in that first number. Or you might assume something's included, like a smart thermostat, and find out later it wasn't.
This raises an important question then. How can you possibly budget effectively if you don't know exactly what you're paying for? It's about clarity.
It's about clarity, it's about trust, and it's about avoiding nasty surprises.
Yeah.
Get it itemized.
Got it. Itemized estimate. Non-negotiable. Okay, switching gears slightly, but still crucial for trust. Vetting the contractor themselves. You gotta ask, are you licensed, insured, and certified? Seems basic, maybe.
It seems basic, but skipping this check is playing with fire. Absolutely fundamental. First, they must be licensed to operate in your state or locality. That's table stakes. It means they've met some minimum requirements.
Okay, license check.
Second, insurance. This is huge. They need two kinds. General liability insurance that covers damage to your property if something goes wrong during the install.
Like if they drop the unit through the ceiling.
Exactly, or cause a water leak, whatever. And they also need workers' compensation insurance. That covers their employees if one of them gets injured on your property. If they don't have workers' comp and someone gets hurt, you could potentially be liable.
Oh, wow. Didn't think of that. So licensed liability and workers' comp. Need proof.
Ask for proof, ask for their license number, ask for certificates of insurance. A legit contractor will provide these readily if they hesitate. Another red flag.
Okay. What about certified? You mentioned that.
Yeah, so beyond the basics, look for industry certifications for their technicians. The gold standard is NATE Certification North American Technician Excellence. NATE. It means the technician has passed rigorous real-world tests on specific HVAC knowledge and skills. It's not required like a license, but it shows a higher level of commitment and expertise.
Good indicator of quality.
Definitely. And don't forget the simple stuff. Ask for references from recent customers. Check online reviews, Google, Yelp, Better Business Bureau. See what other homeowners are saying.
It seems basic, sure, but like you said, this is your ultimate safeguard. Protects you from shoddy work, accidents, all sorts of potential headaches down the line.
Couldn't agree more. Due diligence upfront saves so much pain later.
All right, let's talk about after the installation. Long-term protection. What about warranties? The question is, what warranty options do I actually get?
Yeah, warranties can be confusing, and there are definitely pitfalls. Typically, you get two main types. First is the manufacturer's warranty. That covers the equipment itself, the furnace, the AC unit, the coils.
How long usually?
Usually 5 or 10 years on major parts.
Yeah.
Sometimes longer on specific components like the compressor or heat exchanger.
Yeah.
But you need to read the details.
Okay. Manufacturer warranty on parts. What's the second type?
The second is the labor warranty. This comes from the installing contractor, and it covers the work they did during the installation.
So if something fails because they didn't connect it right?
Exactly. But here's the thing. Labor warranties are usually much shorter. Maybe only 1 year, sometimes 2. It varies a lot between contractors. You need to get that in writing.
Okay, so parts warranty from maker, labor warranty from installer.
Got it. What's the catch you mentioned?
Ah, the big catch. Many, maybe even most, manufacturer warranties have a requirement buried in the fine print. You must have the system professionally maintained every year to keep the warranty valid.
Wait, really? If I skip a tune-up, I could void my 10-year parts warranty.
You absolutely could. They want proof the system was cared for properly. So if your compressor dies in year 6 and you can't show proof of annual maintenance by a qualified technician, the manufacturer might deny the warranty claim. Poof, that expensive repair is on you.
Whoa, what's fascinating here is how easily you could lose that protection without even realizing it. It happens all the time. People get the install done, file the warranty card, and forget about it until something breaks years later. You have to know the requirements.
So besides skipping maintenance, what else could void it? Like if I hire my buddy to fix a small issue.
That's another big one. Using non-certified technicians for repairs or installing non-OEM, non-original equipment manufacturer parts can definitely void the warranty. They want qualified pros using approved parts.
Okay, so stick with reputable service companies and make sure they use the right parts. Man, warranties are trickier than they look.
They really are. Read the fine print, understand the maintenance requirements.
Good advice. Okay, last big area. We've got the system installed, warranty understood. What about ongoing help? Final question. What kind of support do I get after the installation?
Excellent final point. Because the relationship shouldn't end when they drive away after the install. You need to know what happens next.
Like, what if it breaks on a Sunday?
Exactly. Ask about their service department. Do they offer emergency repairs? What are their hours? Do they offer annual maintenance plans or tune-ups? Remember that warranty requirement. A good company will offer a plan to help you meet it.
Tell me more about those maintenance plans. Are they worth it?
Often, yes. Many companies call them comfort clubs or service agreements. Typically, you pay an annual fee, and in return, you get your required annual tune-ups scheduled automatically.
Takes the remembering off my plate.
Right. Plus, these plans often come with other perks. Things like priority service, meaning if your AC dies during a heat wave, you go to the front of the line. You might also get discounts on any needed repairs, parts, or even diagnostic fees.
Okay, so it's not just the tune-up itself.
No, it's about peace of mind, potentially faster service when you desperately need it, and often saving some money on repairs over the long haul. Plus, regular maintenance genuinely extends the life of the system and keeps it running efficiently. It pays for itself in many cases.
So it really is about making sure that big investment continues to deliver comfort and efficiency for, 10, 15, hopefully 20 years, not just on day one.
That's the goal. A long, healthy, efficient life for your system.
It sounds like you're really looking for a long-term partner, not just a one-time installer.
That's a great way to put it. At the end of the day, it all comes back to that core idea. Knowledge is comfort. Look, most folks only buy maybe one or two HVAC systems in their whole life. It's totally normal to feel, a bit lost in all the options of the tech talk.
For sure.
But asking these questions we've talked about, it makes all the difference. You're not just dodging a bad install or a ripoff. You're actively buying yourself peace of mind. And remember, a good HVAC installation isn't really about the brand name on the box or the fanciest features. It's about the right fit for your home, making sure it functions correctly because it was installed properly with attention to details like ducts and, crucially, working with a contractor who treats your home with respect.
Fit, function, and a good contractor. Love it. So the next time a contractor tells you they'll just, pop a new unit in for you, stop, take a breath, and start asking these questions. You might save yourself thousands of dollars, maybe avoid years of frustration, and definitely sleep a lot more comfortably. So thinking about everything we just covered, what's the one thing, the key factor question that really stands out